Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dark Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Dragon Ball Super Part 2 of the Supreme Magnificent Battle Gathering of Super Warriors, and honestly this is a hell of a stage. I think it is fundamentally one of the longest stages I have ever done. In a way, like obviously Festival of Battles, incredibly long and strong, and I get that. You also have the Goku and Vegeta events where it's like, okay, you are taking on, for example, units that have 1.5 billion health, etc. But this event is just like, feels never ending almost. I think it's just because of also the sheer amount of units in each stage. Like stage 1, 2 units, stage 2, 2 units, stage 3, 2 units, stage 4, 2 units, stage 5, 4 units, stage 6, 2 units, stage 7, 3 units, stage 8, 2 units. So there are 8 phases here. 8 phases in total. The thing is, a lot of the bosses do not have a ton of health. AoE attacks are very good here. They are very strong, especially if you're running like a Broly team where you have like, tech Broly or strength Broly, where you're doing like some of those 30 million AoEs, those like 14, 10, 15 million AoEs, like those definitely help. Those are definitely very, very crucial. Honestly, the difficulty here that you're going to have is you need quite a versatile team to deal with all the different typings and potential supers. I think that's really, if I had to speak of anything, your fundamental risk here. Because when you're taking on this event and when you are taking on so many different types of units, it's not about the fact that they hit 1.5 million supers or 1.6 million supers, which may not be considered super damaging. It's the fact that you have to consider that you could be taking a 1.6 million super from, for example, Super Saiyan God Vegeta, who's int, and Super Saiyan 2 Kaba, who is strength. So it's like a really, really, really catch-22 in terms of like, oh, this is kind of like what I'm going to do, because you could prepare for all different types of units by having guard, by having evasion, and that's really kind of the thing. So I would personally have either a versatile team that has units that don't necessarily have to be ridiculously strong, but at the very least are powerful. They have a defensive mechanism, whether it's evasion and guard or something. Guard is going to be very crucial here. Like, guard is something that helps you a ton because it just prevents you from dealing with a lot of the typings that can arise. The negative typings, the unfavorable matchups, all of that. It helps a ton to have guard kind of kick in. So anyway, let's talk about the phases. So I'm not going to go into huge detail about the stats. I'll just mention something that's pivotal about them because there's 8 of them. So talking about all 8 in detail can be quite challenging. Goku Jiren. Goku hits a 1.3 million super, Jiren a 1.3 million super. Goku has an attack boost when a Universal Survival Saga category character is present. So if you're using a team like mine, anticipate he's going to be a bit harder to deal with. Jiren has a small chance, 30%, of potentially giving you a seal on one of your characters. The next phase is Krillin Master Roshi, Krillin AGL, Master Roshi TN Tech. Krillin hits for 1.3 million, Master Roshi hits for 1.3 million. Master Roshi can seal you on super, Krillin can stun you on super. Luckily, not anything too crazy here. Vegeta and Kaba is very interesting. Vegeta is 1.6 million in terms of damage. Kaba is 1.3 million. You want to focus down on Kaba first because Kaba has an attack 66% up boost when Vegeta is present. So he's actually hitting for like 2.4 million. You want to take him out first. He's got less health. And the problem with this is when you do take him out first, then Vegeta gets a huge defensive boost. But luckily, besides that, 1.6 million is not a huge problem to handle. So you just have to kind of deal with it. Then you get Goku Ultra Instinct, Caulifla, and Kale. This one is very interesting because Goku has a 30% evasion rate which is actually very high for an enemy boss. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a 30% evasion rate for an enemy boss before. So it is something that is, actually quite difficult to deal with. Then we have Caulifla and Kale, who have attack and defense of 40% when a Pure Sands category character is present. So with Caulifla and Kale, if you've got a Pure Sand on your team, it's going to be a bit of a problem. One thing I found is that it's actually easier to hit Goku, especially if you have AoE attacks, if you just target Caulifla and Kale. Goku doesn't have a lot of health, so like, especially if you're using a Broly team or something where you have AoE attacks, target Caulifla and Kale, hit them with the AoE, and then it will by extension hit Goku, which is the easy way to take him out. So I thought that was pretty cool. Then we move on to Android 1718, Brianna, Kukunsa, and Rosie. This one is a bit of a doozy because there's a lot of different factors that they have kind of going on. But, we'll run through it very quickly. Android 17 and 18 have a 1.6 million super, Brianna 1.7 million, Kukunsa 1.4 million, and Rosie 1.4 million. The big key factor here with these characters is that they're all dependent on each other for attack and defense boosts. Brianna gets one when Kukunsa or Rosie is present, Kukunsa gets one when Brianna or Rosie is present, and Rosie gets a defensive boost when either of the other is present. The thing is, you can pick either one to take out, but at the end of the day, the thing is they all have so many bilateral requirements, so Kukunsa or Rosie can trigger Brianna. So unless you somehow take out, like, for example, Kukunsa and Rosie in the same turn, which is fine, that'll leave Brianna with no buffs. So it's like, my concept would be, if you don't have AoE, take out Kukunsa, take out Rosie, then take out Brianna, and then Android 17 and 18 you can kind of just leave, because they don't really do too much else. Gohan, Piccolo, and Cyanel and Purina, these guys, they are also actually very straightforward. So Gohan and Piccolo are 1.6 million super, disable defense, nullify super attack ceiling, etc. And then you have Cyanel and Purina, they have 1.4 million super, but theirs changes a little bit in terms of their chance of firing a super. So while they are high on health, they will have a 50% chance of firing a super, so they'll fire their super early on in the turn. Whereas when they are below 80% health, they have a much lower chance, like 33%, which, tends to help. Golden Frieza, Angel, Topper, and Dispo is the second to last phase, and probably the one I would say outside the last phase that's maybe the most annoying. So Dispo, very low health, but a 70% evasion chance. Can be very irritating. Again, AoE focusing Frieza or Toppo will give you a better chance at hitting Dispo. Then we have Toppo, who randomly changes all key spheres. This can also be quite frustrating because it can prevent you from having control over the key spheres, on which units have control over what their key spheres do. I need 5 key spheres to do this, or etc. Then we have Golden Frieza Angel, who hits 1.9 million super, and has a 30% chance of locking your characters in place, which, as you know and can imagine, is highly irritating, because when your character gets locked into place, it is very frustrating. The last phase, Goku Ultra Instinct and Jiren Full Power, is very similar. Goku Ultra Instinct performs a critical hit when launching a super. He has a 59% chance of evasion, fairly low health, but their super attacks are regulated based on actions. So you don't have to worry too much about them, realistically. Jiren does not crit, but he is fairly tanky. Honestly, at this point, your team is either fully built up, or you should at least have an item left. Their health pools are so low that you shouldn't have an issue.